Hello, beautiful soul. I'm Vicki Howie of ChakraBoosters.com, the creator of Chakra Boosters Healing Tattoos. And today I want to talk to you about the signs of an overactive sacral chakra. Now, this is a series, so you can watch the other videos on signs of having an overactive chakra. I would also like you to watch the signs that you have a weak chakra for. It's a series again, so you would watch each individual one. At least watch the chakras that interest you and watch both the overactive and the weakness signs, because when you look at both, you have a really good understanding just through feeling it what it is to have a healthy chakra right in the middle of that. Now, there can be instances where there are one or two signs, but the rest don't apply. I've seen many different variations occur, so don't get too black and white about this. This is just to help you. These are guideposts. And also, I want to talk to you about the nature of the chakras each time I do these videos so you can get an intuitive sense. I want you to not just have a mental list of like, these are the signs, but rather, oh, so the sacral chakra is all about the divine feminine and water, etc., etc. And therefore, when that energy is amped up and it's really high without the other chakras being balanced, and that's key to that same height, then these problems occur, or these symptoms, or these side effects, these signs, whatever we want to call them. Now, the point I just made is very, very important, and I'd like you to watch, if you can, the truth about how to balance overactive chakras. That's one of my videos. I have over 300 videos, so I don't remember the names. I have to read them off, but the truth about how to balance overactive chakras will help you to understand that my belief around this anyway, which is that we are really rising in our energy on this planet, and if a test says you have an overactive chakra, if all of them are overactive, then none of them are overactive. Because overactivity, right now we want more energy. We want to be more connected to our energy field. We're turning into like superheroes. But we just want them to be balanced. So if you have only one chakra that's way higher than all the others, then that chakra is probably going to show up with some of these signs. Does that make sense? So it's relativity that's important. And if you're still not clear on what overactive means, at least in my world of chakras, you can watch the video I just mentioned. And again, you could also watch the playlists for signs of a weak chakra, and you can watch the playlist for the other chakras in this series as well. Okay. And if you recognize yourself, especially on the weak side, you can use my healing videos. And at the end of this video, for people that are overactive, which is more rare, I'm going to give you a few suggestions on how you could work toward healing some of this overactivity. Before we go on to the signs of an overactive sacral chakra, let's first talk about the sacral chakra. What is it? Well, it's the second most embodied chakra, because again, the 7 chakras along your spine, they go down, and think of them like a pyramid where the crown is not embodied at all. It's above your head. It's in the crown area, but above and off the body. And it relates to pure divine energy. And then as the other 6 chakras, as they go down in the body, they get denser and denser until you get down to the root, which is your densest, slowest vibrating chakra, the one that has to do with everything bodily and manifest in this physical world and the earth herself. The sacral is the next chakra up. It's in your hip area. It's in the middle of the pelvic bowl, and it's orange. And it is water element, whereas the root is earth element. So earth element, you can feel that. It's kind of got sometimes a staidness or a downward energy, and it's like, whoa. Sacral energy is all over the place. Water, if you pour it on a counter, will just flood. It will go wherever. Water goes where it is directed, right? So if you have a river channel and you pour water down it, it'll go down that winding river channel. But if you don't, it'll go out in a wide flood. So the nature of water is it's very unpredictable and undirected. It just does its thing. So I want you to feel into that. And then feminine energy is very emotional, creative, fertile. We create babies. We get fertilized, obviously, by the sperm, but the baby is created in the womb of the woman. So fertility and creativity are sacral qualities. and imagination and ease and flow and joy and being childlike, playful, being sexual in an intimate way, not sexual in a needy, reproductive kind of way. That's root chakra, and sometimes solar plexus when there's that drive from the masculine sexuality. But feminine sexuality, this is about feminine, and again, I'm not saying women's sexuality, I'm saying feminine sexuality. So try not to give me too hard of a time, okay? I'm working with language, and language is limited. Feminine sexuality, which is the sexuality that wants to connect emotionally in all the feminine chakras, emotionally in the sacral, lovingly in the heart, and then intuitively in the third eye. So there's this intimacy of I see you, you see me, I want to connect with you specifically. My sexuality and sensuality opens when I connect with you specifically. So you feel that it's a dyad. And so it's the second chakra, which makes sense. You have a dyad, two people. Root chakra is more about self, and that self preserving itself by being part of a larger tribe. Got that? A family, a larger tribe, but it's still individual, the one. And sacral is two. Sacral is you and me, you and me. Okay? So I think that's enough for you to get a real sense of it and to begin to understand what some of the overactive signs would be. So if we take that intimacy and we just make it extreme, sign number one is codependence, right? Codependence, living your life through another person, being in a relationship and focusing more on the partner rather than yourself. And if this is a situation where it's happening and maybe even the partner is an addict or they're doing things that are really taking down the relationship and you can't change that because you're caught up in the cycle of that, then that is the kind of codependence that I'm talking about. A really, truly overactive sacral will lead to a heavy codependence. We all have a little bit, right? Intimacy, it's hard to be interacting with someone all the time and sexually and intimately life partners and not have some aspects of codependence, right? So again, these are all words, but I'm just saying when we see it in its extreme version, which is you are living your life more through the other person than through yourself. And that's how I like to define it. I'm sure there's other definitions. I'm talking about the type I'm talking about right now is you can honestly say you focus more on your partner than yourself, and it moves your life around in all kinds of ways that are out of your control. Again, out of control is part of the sacral, okay? So sign number two is overly emotional, and if you take this to its extreme, crazy, okay? It means you're led by your emotions and they take you wherever. You're not leading your emotions. You're not working with your emotions. Your emotions are driving the train. They are driving the train. And a word that someone might use to describe you would be crazy. Now, these are shadows of sacral too, okay? So you might want to watch my shadow video on the sacral. It's one of my favorites because I really opened up and was very vulnerable in that video. But if indeed you find that your emotions are uncontrollable for you, you find that they guide you, they lead you, they're like a big dog, you know, those huge dogs on your leash, and it's pulling you, you're not leading it. Got it? That's number two. Number three is promiscuous. You're led by your need to be sexual, and it doesn't even have to necessarily be full intercourse, just sexual activity, intimate activity with another. Incorrigible flirts would even fit under this if you're a real extreme. But again, overactive sacral might not be that big of a problem if it just makes you kind of flirty. Then again, if you're in a committed relationship and your partner finds that really offensive, then obviously that's a problem. So promiscuous, going out, having a lot more sex than you would consciously choose to have because you're being driven by the sacral energy of needing to be with another person intimately, okay? And a lesser version of that would be flirting all the time, like you're an over flirter, especially if you're in a committed relationship and you don't intend to do that, but other people tell you that that's what's happening all the time. Number four is unreliable. So the root chakra is about reliability. The third chakra, the solar plexus, the two masculine chakras that sandwich the sacral are all about responsibility and goals and getting things done. but the sacral's in between this, and it's unreliable. It's going to be late maybe, or lose things, or be unaccountable when it tells people it will do something. So if you find that you honestly are really unreliable and you want to be reliable, that's the thing, you want to, there's a part of you that wants to be, but you just can't be. You can't be counted on, okay? You're unreliable. That is usually a sign that the sacral energy has taken over, all right? Now the next one's kind of a little more playful. Number 5 is unable, like it's unable to be serious. It's the Peter Pan syndrome. It's the childlike to the extent, it's great if we can be childlike, because so many of us grow up and leave our child self behind. And then we come into an arena, and if we can bring that childlike play, we help everybody else have more fun and get more playful, right? But have you been around, or are you one of the people where you cannot be serious? You actually judge people who are serious. Everything has to be a joke. You cannot, literally cannot talk seriously about something. You joke about everything. Everything's light. You don't share your emotions in that way. So it's like going to the light side of it. So you can see how even within this we have different aspects of sacral. What I find sometimes is men in particular will often go to this one that I'm talking about, and women will go more to the emotional. So a woman might be overly led by the emotions. A man who won't want to be overly led by his emotions but has a lot of sacral energy will instead cover with a lot of humor and play, and he will not be able to be serious. Like say he's got a girlfriend and she tries to have a serious talk about something, he's going to make that wrong, and that is just not going to happen. Okay, so that's number 5. Number 6 is unstable and always changing. The nature of the sacral chakra is to change. The feminine is about change and cycles and seasons and movement. But what happens is when it's overactive, it leads the person having it too much into having a really sort of dramatic life. Too much change. Change creates stress for most people. Now, granted, people with a lot of sacral energy can handle change better, but even they can cause themselves stress with too much change. One of the common ones is changing homes or jobs or partners. I shouldn't say one, 3. 3 of the common ones: homes, jobs, careers, if you want even, partners. Because these 3 are deep, important things in our life. And when these are changing willy-nilly, if you're changing apartments every 6 months, every year, or homes, okay, apartments are easier to move from place to place, so that's usually more the case. Or if you're changing partners every 6 months or a year, or if you're changing jobs all the time, and maybe not just, if you're getting fired, that probably goes back to the unreliable, right? But if you're actually quitting as well too, that could be part of it. So what it basically means is that there's this amount of change that is so extreme, it creates instability, especially, and I want to be key here, especially in the key areas of life where we need some stability. Home, where we live, our partnership, if we have one, and our job or career, okay? So, unstable. Number 7, I'm going to go to a physical one. UTIs, urinary tract infections, or other bladder issues. Now these are more common for women just because of the very makeup, which is interesting because the sacral chakra is more commonly blown out in women because we are natally, because of our hormones, more sacral. We're just way more sacral. The gland here is the ovaries, which the men don't even have. That causes certain hormonal things to happen that tend to make us a little more emotional. So we also have more of a tendency for urinary tract infections, for bladder infections. And especially interesting, most doctors will say that the main cause is too much sex. So we're back to that again, the promiscuity. But even if you don't have too much sex and you still get UTIs, these are a sign of an overactive sacral chakra, typically. It's just, you can feel it. It's just like, it's flourishing growth of an infection in there because the energy is like this. Okay, number 8, one more physical thing, STDs. So sexually transmitted diseases, now it's more equal opportunity. Men can get them in women, although there are some that women can contract more easily because we're more open physically, right? And being penetrated. So the STDs are usually coming along again with having promiscuity, not being as safe. Safety is a real sign of the root chakra. Root chakra likes things safe and consistent and known. The sacral doesn't. And in that unknown, if you're having more sex with another partner or several other partners and you're doing it, changing partners a lot and not looking out so much for the safety because you have a lot of sacral, and often when you have a lot of sacral, it takes away from the root chakra because they're neighbors. It's like they take fence space away from each other. So sexually transmitted diseases can happen there because of all those different reasons. So you can see why it all kind of makes sense. But it also just energetically, to have an issue, to have a disease in that area can happen too. Because energetically there's just a lot of energy there. And when there's an energy there, there's an opportunity for proliferation for some kind of disease. Okay, so there are others, guys. These are the main ones. I think if you have quite a few of these main ones, then you're probably overactive in the sacral. And usually when you're overactive in the sacral, you don't need to do most of my videos because my videos in general help to boost. Like when we do a yoga position or we wear the stones, many of them will balance. And I made my chakra tattoos the right size so that they would balance the chakras, and not like if a chakra was overly open, which isn't very common, but if it was, that I was hoping it would come to the size of the chakras I created. So I created them 3 inches wide just for that reason, because through research I thought that was a really good size for adults on the body. But that having been said, there are obviously specific things that you can do to let go of some of this. And basically what it entails is jumping into doing more of the neighboring chakras. So you'll also read about this in the video I told you to watch, The Truth About Healing, or The Truth About Balancing Overactive Chakras. The truth about balancing them is, rather than try to lessen energy in this day and age when we want to boost our energy, you want to up the energy of the neighboring chakras. In this case, the neighboring chakras are the solar plexus and the root. So you want to have more of the consistency of the root, more of the habitual way of being. So just creating some rote habits that come from the root chakra. If you were to create some of those in your life, that would be really, really good. If when you wanted to willy-nilly leave a job, leave a partner, or change your home, you said, let me just go 6 months more, let me go a year more. And that might seem like, 1, challenging, and 2, like, how can that help? It helps immensely, because you're choosing root over sacral. You're choosing stability and sameness and habit over change, which automatically creates more stability, automatically creates more reliability. Even just the fact that if you don't change your job, people know where to get you the next year, or your home, they know where to come to see you. You're more reliable on many levels. So one thing is to get more routine, to not change as much in those 3 key areas that I said, to literally do meditations where you take your energy and focus off of your partner, read books about codependence, and learn to bring it back into being about you. Do the breath test. Take at least 3, maybe 10 big breaths when you feel emotion coming on, because breath is really good for very sacral people, because it's also it's heart, and heart and sacral are both feminine, they go together, so it won't feel as foreign. If someone tells you, for instance, and you're overly sacral and someone tells you to not be emotional, that's usually going to trigger you to be more emotional. So you don't want to do that with yourself. You don't want to tell yourself to not be emotional, but taking a few breaths when you feel big emotions coming on, especially when someone else is around. Obviously, you can do it more on your own, but when someone else is around, take a few big breaths before you express an emotion. Just Feel it, feel where it is in your body, identify it in your body, become familiar with it, because often the overly emotional aspect is the part of you that's not being seen by you. So you can see you're creating like an intimacy with yourself. What's happening when we're getting over emotional, or when we're seeking a partner to live through a partner, or we're seeking intimate contact through sex, a lot of these things that I've mentioned, what's happening is our inner child is seeking attention, seeking to be seen, seeking to connect. And because of that, we can actually heal it doing work with our own inner child, particularly around 2 to 3, during that 2-year-old year before they become 3. That toddler stage is a really good stage to go see your inner child, because that's when a lot of the sacral energy was developing. Okay, so I have a couple inner child meditations on this channel, and you can find them elsewhere by Googling. But find yourself some good inner child meditations, or even just close your eyes, take a few breaths, focus on your breath, relax, go to a safe place within, and then invite your inner child of whatever age, or a specific age if you'd like, to come in. And then notice how he or she is dressed, and go there and commune, talk with this inner child inside of your imagination, like ask him or her what they need, just play with them, be there for them, tell them you're there for them. You know, inner child work is really very simple. You just go inside and you commune with your inner child. So much of the sacral is about our inner child. When our sacral's out of whack, it's usually actually the inner child's unmet needs coming out unconsciously and ruling the roost, like a child that just runs the adult. So your unconscious is the child with these needs, and your conscious can't control the child, because the child is like, the needs are too big and too strong. So do some inner child work along with the other things that I mentioned, and it'll begin to bring that sacral chakra into balance. Again, what you really want to do is boost the qualities of the root and the solar plexus, because that's the ultimate way to balance an overactive chakras. Lift the others, get the field going so all the chakras are strong. I invite you to watch the other videos of this series, as well as just other videos on my channel. A lot of people don't realize there are hundreds. So poke around, enjoy. If you are looking for healing, watch my healing playlists for each chakra, because you can specifically target a chakra. And of course, I invite you to try my Chakra Boosters healing tattoos. I created them because getting a real root chakra tattoo changed my entire life energetically, just gave me energy. And so now that all of that has changed for me, I want to share that with you. So that's it for today. I hope to see you on the next video, and I hope you have a very blessed week. Bye for now.